Hello everybody, Rino here, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic that's recently popped up in the arm wrestling community, and if you've been following it at least a little bit, you already know what I'm talking about, and that's how much is the tricep involved in the press. Now, I've made a similar video like this a few years ago, or a year ago, I'm not quite sure, but today I'm just going to be expanding on that video, and I'm going to be telling you guys how I believe and how I think you can use your tricep much more effectively in the match, and why and how you should actually train it. Now, before I actually get on with this video, if you guys want to support me, please leave a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and it helps me do more of these videos for you. Also guys, I made a new Instagram account to which I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below, so you can go follow me over there as well. But without further ado, let's continue with the video. So as an average press enjoyer myself, I can tell you that the tricep is not heavily used in the press itself, or at least I don't use it personally, just because you cannot generate enough force with your tricep to effectively use it in a press against an opponent, especially if your tricep is stretched out maximally, like you can see right here. I can just not generate enough force where I can actually kind of produce any pressure on my opponent's arm for it to be challenging for him. Instead, what an effective press is all about is simply leaning your bicep or your upper arm on your forearm, like so, and pressing with your whole body downwards. And this is a interesting concept for a lot of people because they associate the press mostly with the tricep. And once you try this method out, where you don't actually involve your tricep so much in the pure movement of pressing, there is a lot of issues people face, especially in the tendon that connects their tricep to their elbow. They feel a lot of pain there, and it feels like it's going to burst. So the way that you can avoid this or kind of condition your elbow is simply by putting on light weights or moderately heavy weights and letting your forearm lean on your bicep and pushing it lightly until it starts feeling a little bit better. And then throughout time, you can kind of up the weight until you feel comfortable, and eventually you'll kind of get used to that pressure and you will be able to use the press a lot more effectively. The actual implication of the tricep during a match is very interesting, and I think a lot of people actually don't think about it that much, or at least what I'm going to show you now, I don't think a lot of people actually know that the tricep can be implemented in that certain movement during a match. So what I personally like to use my tricep the most for is for taking center at the very start of the match when the referees are setting us up. I like to push the center just a little bit so it's uncomfortable for my opponent, but not enough where the referee will actually continuously move our hands backwards and kind of give me a warning, or I can actually get a foul if I'm doing something similar in a referee's grip. And that would be like one way that you can use your tricep effectively, and that looks something like this. As you can see, it's not internal shoulder rotation, it's really more of a pushing motion with my tricep in kind of a 45-degree angle if you're looking like straight on, and that's kind of what I like to use my tricep for the most. And the second thing would probably be in the containment of my center line when I'm actually pulling in a top roll or in a hook. And that would look something like this. When I'm starting to top roll, I'm at the same time slightly pushing with my tricep, or just keeping it stiff where it doesn't move backwards. And that's how I achieve a very good top roll where I can take my opponent's center and kind of be more dominant in that first pull right off the go. Another way that you can use your tricep in a certain technique, like in this case a hook, would be again pushing the center of your opponent just a little bit and pulling back with your back pressure just a little bit as well towards the opposite shoulder. And again, not too much where the referees can notice, just enough for it to be uncomfortable for your opponent. And with that movement, you can press again the center when you're starting to go in a hook, and you can hook someone a lot more easily, and you can kind of avoid them being too compact, where you can actually get their hand away from their body a lot more like this, and you can have a lot more control over their arm and you have your shoulder behind your arm as well. So you're much more compact than them, and you're essentially going to be in a better position where you can transition into a press, top roll, or a hook itself. So in my opinion, the tricep is really involved in those tiny little movements that give you a tiny edge above your opponent, especially if you're very close in strength. And I think that it can also help you execute certain techniques a lot better and a lot more precisely, so you can attack a certain point of your opponent's, let's say, hand or wrist a lot more effectively, and you can definitely kind of exert more force in that one tiny area that you want when you use your tricep, especially in this side pressure movement like this. So the way that you can actually train your tricep for these specific movements, or the way that I have done it, was not through like some conventional, tricep exercises, but I don't think those are bad as well. I just found this one to kind of simulate the exact thing that I was just telling you, so that's why I kind of tend to use that one instead of others. So it's an exercise that I've shown, I believe, on my channel, and I think the name of the video was like the only side pressure exercise that you will ever need. And in that exercise, I do exactly the thing that I want when I want to target my tricep, and that's keeping my hand in the center of my body, or a little bit past the center. And when I'm lifting the weight like this, I'm not allowing my hand to line up with my shoulder by pressing it with my tricep. Of course, I'm not actively pressing it. I'm just keeping it at the same kind of distance from my shoulder by activating my tricep and statically lifting it like this. So I have watched the video where Jarry talks about using the tricep in the press, and if I remember correctly, he says that it's like the most important part of the press, which I definitely don't agree with. And if you see some of his matches, I mean, I don't remember off the top of my head, does he actually, press his opponent down? But I don't believe so. You can especially see this when Kamil tries to train his press, or is training his press. You can see that he basically leans his arm completely on his bicep or his upper arm, and then proceeds to press like so. And this would be kind of the way that you can develop a very strong elbow, and kind of you can get used to a lot of pressure being put on that specific part of your arm, so you won't have any issues when you're facing a strong opponent who can actually stop you in this position, and you can continue pressing through that kind of awkward pain that you would usually feel just because you're so used to it. And I think Kamil is a pure example of someone who doesn't actively use his tricep, because you cannot lift 120 or however many kilos he's lifting actively with your tricep, or you can't even keep your tricep activated during the whole move like this. So keeping a distance from your shoulder with your hand by using your tricep, that's simply impossible with such a high weight. You have to lean your arm on your bicep and then press like so. So that has been my take on this, let's say, debate that people have been having. Is the tricep involved in the press or is it not? And how important it is. So hopefully this kind of clears some things up for you guys. And I hope that this, of course, helped you to better understand how you can actually utilize the tricep as effectively as possible during a match for yourself. And I highly suggest that you try those techniques out that I mentioned. So keeping the center with your tricep and pulling a little bit back with your back pressure, and then kind of doing a side pressure move. If you guys liked it, leave a like and subscribe. Leave any suggestions for a future video in the comments. I'll be reading them all, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.